Hello. This is kind of a special episode of videos on my channel. The reason why, it's because for the first time, this video is by request. Someone asked me to kind of make a video about this, and I'm going to do my best. And what happened was, I had been speaking with this person about carbon capture and storage, and they said, "Well, what is it?" And I'm like, I don't want to spoil it, but you can go back and look at my other video if you want to get the spoiler. The spoiler is it's kind of like not that good, but it's, what is it? And he said, maybe you should make a video about this. And I thought, well, yeah, I'll try, see what I can do. So anyway, I'm here. Oh, by the way, my name's Bruce. This is my channel, and if you could please do me a favor and subscribe, if you want to, if you think that this is the kind of thing you might like, or even there's no real negative to it though. That's just it. I'm subscribed to like 500 or 600 channels. I don't know, but there you are. And I like it when people subscribe. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I do, but I have to confess that I do. It makes me feel like that someone's listening. And by the way, it astonishes me that someone does listen. But I'm going to do my best here on this topic. And so if you know me, if you know the channel, you'll know that I quite often have I have my chalkboard, a classroom that I'm all equipped. I have my chalkboard, and I have it, and I like to use that. I don't presently have that at this exact second, so I'm going to do my best. And this is a little tiny bit of carbon capture and storage, and what is it? Okay, well, let's start. Let's fast forward a little tiny bit. I'm not going to start at the I'm not going to start 500 million years ago in the age of Gaia, and how the Earth's composition kind of evolved, and that hydrocarbon comes from decomposition of plant matter for over hundreds of millions of years, and that's so for hundreds of millions of years, the Earth has been capturing carbon and storing it essentially in the Earth. That's been happening. Now we have this thing called fire. Okay, so we have what do we have? We have fire. I'm going to do my best here. Okay, so we have fire. All right. Now what we have is we have coal. Now, when I was in grade school, we talked about coal because I come from a coal mining community, and coal, we talked about peat, anthracite, lignite, and bituminous coal, different types of coal, and really it's all the same thing. Okay, it's like decomposed plant matter over hundreds of millions of years, and it's been created into something that sort of looks like a mineral, but it's carbon stored in a solid form. Oil is essentially the same as coal, but it's more flowy. What's this? A candle. You can have a candle. You light a candle. That's candle wax. Wood is something you can burn it. It's a store of carbon. And then I put this, for the hell of it, I wrote down here fat. Okay, sometimes if you're making a recipe and the fat might alight, catch fire. But all this stuff plus oxygen, call it oxygen, O2, will be kind of scientific. This stuff plus oxygen begets, I'll switch color. Oh, I like my crayons, I'll tell you. I'll switch a color, begets fire. Okay, what I'm saying is, and this is not rocket science, you burn this stuff, you add oxygen to it, some heat, activation energy, you wind up with fire. Now, fire This book is difficult to manage, but it doesn't matter. Fire gives you some stuff. Okay, I'll write down fire. Fire gives you heat, thermal energy, and it gives you products of combustion. Okay, so this is what happens: is you get heat, thermal energy, and you get products of combustion. Now, heat is something that humanity, we have been using for a very long time. We've been using heat. We've been using heat for different reasons. We've been using heat to cook our food. We've been using heat to keep us warm. We've been using heat to keep us comfortable. We've been using heat to keep us happy. And then a bunch of years ago, like I'm going to say 150 thereabouts, someone came up with this idea of an engine, the heat engine. Now, the heat engine was developed by a kind of tinkerers, someone that's sort of fooling around, like backyard inventors. So the first heat engines, there wasn't really a lot of scientific analysis associated with those. They were just cobbled together, and you could made to work. Okay, so you might see a steam engine on a ship, or a steam engine on a locomotive, or different versions of a heat engine. There you go. And then later, now I'm not that good at saying the names of who did what exactly, but later, after the working models of the heat engine were created, then what happened was there was some assessment of them, like some scientific endeavor to determine, well, we put in this much heat, how much work do we get out, and how much whatever, and an analysis of the thing. And so maybe that was performed by Rankine or Thomas Babbage, but no, that's the wrong name. I can't remember the name. It really doesn't matter. But heat engine. And then you come up with, in the scientific analysis, you come up with what are called, they call them cycles. Okay, a cycle. So if you have a diesel engine, really it's working on what's a diesel cycle, named after Mr. Diesel. If you have most gas cars, that's a heat engine. You burn it, you get heat and work. They work on what's probably is a Brayton cycle, named after Mr. Brayton. And then there's an Otto cycle and a Miller cycle, and so, but they're all the same thing. Okay, really. And what they are is here you have. Use the red. Here you have fire, then you have some stuff, and then like a compressor, like this, fire, and there's a turbine, something that turns around, goes over here, and then there's a condensation thing over here, and it goes around. Call it a cycle, because it goes around, so I call it a cycle. And then this word efficiency that you may have heard me say I do not like to ever use because it's imprecise and inexact, but you can calculate the efficiency of a heat engine. And you can say, well, for a certain amount of heat that we put in, we get a certain amount of work. And there's a limiting factor. In a heat engine, the limit of a heat engine is Carnot. There's a thing called a Carnot cycle, which doesn't really work. It's an imaginary thing. It's kind of like the economic concept of perfect competition, but it's useful for discussing. So the best that you can ever possibly do in a heat engine is a Carnot cycle. And that's going to say, let's say round numbers is like 30%. It's less than that, but it's round numbers is 30%. So if you put in 100 units of heat, you can get 30 units of useful energy out of this thing. But getting back to the purpose of this is to explain carbon capture and storage. Is I'm saying that we're burning stuff. We're burning carbon. Okay, and you're getting heat and you're getting useful work. That's what happens. Okay. Now, the reason why you're able to burn it has to do with this. There's a fancy word in thermodynamics. It's called exergy. Another word they use is availability. But what it is it's the difference between the state, between the thing and the surroundings. Okay. So if I had this, if this were filled with gasoline, then this is gasoline. And this thing, if you can see it, if it's filled, imagine this is filled with gasoline, and then the surroundings is the air stuff. So there's a disequilibrium. There's a difference between the surroundings and this imaginary tin of gasoline, or more importantly, there's a difference between the gasoline and the surroundings. Okay, so if we bring the thing into equilibrium with the surroundings, then we get useful work from that, which is the availability, the exergy that's available. But this idea of disequilibrium with the surroundings is a little more sophisticated than just kind of saying, well, we're going to burn it. We're going to bring it into equilibrium with the surroundings. So one way you can do it is if the thing's up here and the surroundings are down here, you let it go like that. Then you've used some gravity and brought it into equilibrium with the surroundings. Okay, there's useful things that can be brought from this. Remember, this is the idea. Bringing something into equilibrium with the surroundings is where the useful work comes from. Now, there's a move afoot, or there's some people that will have you believe. I hate that word. Some people. I don't like to say that word. Like that. But there's you can, right, go the other way. So if I have this is my box of crayons. It's wax. So if I burn this box of crayons, then I brought this wax and these crayons into equilibrium with the surroundings. So I'm left with products of combustion. The products of combustion largely are going to be water, because it's hydrocarbon, so it's a combination of hydrogen and carbon is in candle wax. So the hydrogen is gonna combine with the oxygen in the air, and it's gonna produce water, and then the carbon is gonna combine with the oxygen in the air, and it's gonna produce carbon dioxide. And then a whole bunch of other stuff is going to combine with a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's going to produce a whole bunch of other nasty things. Like when you see smoke and you smell it, it smells awful and such. That's like, it's a lesser percentage, but it exists. It's the nasty things, okay? So when we bring this into equilibrium with the surroundings, we are liberating useful work from this material, or their imaginary thing of gasoline, or our 20-liter pail of kerosene, whatever it is, okay? That. The same idea applies with nuclear reactors. You're bringing the nuclear radioactive isotope into equilibrium with its surroundings by radioactive decay, and that's liberating heat, and you're using that. Or the same thing applies with a hydroelectric dam. You have water that's way up high up here, and you're bringing it into equilibrium with the downstream, and you're extracting useful work from that. It's a similar idea. Okay. But we're talking about carbon capture and storage. So the useful work comes from bringing the material into equilibrium with the surroundings. Okay. So I know I've repeated this a few times, but it's the core of the idea. Now, the flip, so this into equilibrium with the surroundings creates water. There's going to be water vapor. There's going to be carbon dioxide and a bunch of other stuff. So that's gone, right? Now, the bad thing that we're focusing on in the context of climate change and greenhouse gases and global warming is the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And what that does is it's like putting more blankets on you while you're asleep. The Earth is retaining more and more thermal energy, and it is warming up, and there's very bad things that happen as a result of this, that can take a kind of a long time to explain, but it's not as simple as having more beach days. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. Maybe there will be more beach days, but there's a heavy, heavy, heavy price to be paid for that. Okay, so like I said, the combustion process, the heat engine process, is begotten by bringing things into equilibrium with the surroundings. Now, so let's pretend that we do this in a small area, and so we liberate a finite amount of carbon dioxide we create, and then we create a finite amount of water vapor, and then so someone says, well, can we put the genie back in the bottle, right? We started with crayons, and we've lit them on fire. Now, can we put the carbon back in our pocket? Can we do that? And the answer is yes, we can. It is possible. We can do this. It is provable. You can conduct somebody, not me, can conduct an experiment and demonstrate that this will work. Okay. Now, that sounds attractive now, doesn't it? That we can kind of like just burn stuff. And the bad thing that happens when you burn stuff is that we release carbon dioxide. There's other bad things, but let's focus on the carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. That's a bad thing that happens when we release it. And this idea is that, well, what we can do is we can just put it back in the can. Put it back in the can. This is my can. What do you think? Anyway, we can put it back in the can. We can do that. That is possible. That's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. Now, so you get sucked into it. And then you think, well, let's do some more research and ramp this up and ramp this up. But remember, when you burn things, we're doing just like three things that are being liberated for the context of our oversimplified discussion. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, and energy. Okay? Energy. And the amount of energy that's being converted into useful work in a heat engine, like I said, it's about 30%. It's not that good, but okay. Energy. So these three things. So we have to put it all back in the bottle. So we can add energy. We can use energy to capture the carbon and capture the water vapor, and then we can store it somewhere. This is doable. This is real. The negative of it is, is this. We're not talking about a box of crayons. And we're not even talking about a liter of gasoline. And we're not talking about a cubic meter of home heating oil. And we're not talking about a barrel of kerosene. We're talking about, round numbers, 50 million barrels of hydrocarbon a day globally. It's something like that. It's, someone's going to correct me in the comments or I could look up the real number, but it doesn't matter. It's a number like that. Remember, I like to use close enough. Okay, so 50 million barrels. So, well, how much carbon dioxide is that? Well, it's a lot. And it's a day, so in a week, in a month, in a year, it's a lot. And well, why can't we just put it back in the bottle? And the answer is because the way that the useful work occurred from doing this is by bringing the item into equilibrium with the environment. And so in order to undo what you've done, you have to bring it completely back into disequilibrium with the environment. We have to regrow the tree magically. Well, I mean, like the tree is going to grow on its own, but I mean, we have to like hocus pocus, calliocus, make trees appear. Whammo. Yeah. Or another, somebody might suggest, oh, well, let's store it in the ocean. We'll just create a carbonated ocean, like a fizzy pop ocean. Well, okay, yeah, maybe you can do that with kind of like more, right? Like you're going to do it like it's more than you can do in your bedroom. It's more than you can do in your high school laboratory. But on a global scale, it's going to make any difference. Is it really a thing? No, it's not, right? So I don't know if I'm doing a good job here of explaining what carbon capture is, because the idea of it is that you can unburn something. Oh, un something. Well, my brother, I was with my brother one time and at his house, and he was we were in his garage, and his garage is like a normal person's garage. There's a bunch of stuff there, and he looked around and he said, geez, and it had accumulated over decades. He said, well, geez, I wish I could unbuy this, meaning like I wish I could like just have back all the money that I spent on buying all these 40 bikes and 50 pairs of skis and all kinds of hockey gear, whatever it was. That it doesn't matter, and it's just normal human stuff. But it was he was making a joke. But you can't really undo stuff. Okay, we can't undo it the way you want to undo it, and this is the core of the idea. And the carbon capture and storage idea is it's very, very important that we understand the impossibility of the undo, okay? In any meaningful context whatsoever. The undo is a firm no. Firmly no. Firmly no on the undo. And but it takes a little bit of sophistication to really remember. If anyone that's silly enough to watch all my videos, thank you very much if you do. My name's Bruce. This is my channel. Please subscribe. Anyone that's silly enough to watch all my videos has I made a video about something one time. I'm having a little. Sometimes I have a little mental. Not quite there, but that's fine. Is the heartbreaking, oh yes, it's the difference between knowing something and getting something, okay, where you really get it, you really understand, okay? And in my context earlier, I said that I understand, the idea of human relationships and love and such, and many of us do, but I always flash back to a moment when I used to work for a big oil company. I used to work for a big oil company. Okay, so I've seen firsthand how this oil stuff works. Okay, and I've participated in it in a pretty big way. But anyway, I was at this place I worked, and I was walking through the concourse of this really beautiful building with pink marble everywhere. This was our offices. I think if you make a bigger building with more marble, you're going to legitimize yourself more strongly. And walking along, and this woman was walking towards me that I knew, and I was coming from or going to the gym, I can't remember. And I don't remember what happened, but somehow there was a mention of her child. And she kind of, for a moment, she zoned out. She went to another place inside of her mind. And as she was in this other place, she said to me, oh, I didn't know it was possible to love something that much. Now that's like 35 years ago. And that moment is forever etched in my mind. And I think of that when I think of this difference between knowing something and really getting something. So it takes a sophisticated level of know and a sophisticated level of get to understand that carbon capture and storage is a firm no. It is as firm a no as if I had asked my friend to give up her children. It is that much of a no. So there you go. And the other flip of it is that it's like the Medusa. It's very attractive because you think, oh, this sounds great. Let's do that. Yeah, this is wonderful. Let's do that. Yeah, okay, we'll burn it and we'll worry about it later. We'll fix it. Our children will fix it. Our grandchildren will fix it. Our neighbor down the street or across the road will fix it. It's so attractive to think that you can put that genie back in the bottle. And it is a firm a no as you're ever going to find. It is just a no, 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 no. So if you hear of your government contributing funds to the research of carbon capture and storage, your first reaction should be no. When you hear some political opposition leaders saying, well, carbon capture and storage is going to allow us to continue with our petrochemical business as usual for the next thousands of years, the answer is no. It is no, 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 no. And even better than it being no, it's that we have credible, viable energy alternatives that do not come with the same baggage and the same last forever negative downsides as combustion. We have options. So we just got to go with the options. All right. Now, if you've really been following me, leave a comment. And if you like it, subscribe. And if you don't like it, subscribe. Just what the heck? I personally like it when people subscribe to my channel. So thank you very much. My name's Bruce, and carbon capture, just no, 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 no. And when someone starts explaining to you that it's a good idea, just go, well, you just don't get it. And who's paying you? And no. Thank you.